Hi everyone, welcome to IT How To. My name is Amit. This is the first video I'm going to be recording in quite a long time. So recently I've had a subscriber reach out to me in relation to getting the LXC container system up and running and set up on CentOS7. So yesterday I've taken the liberty of installing a fresh copy of CentOS7, getting it up to date and getting the LXD and LXC installed onto it. So what you can see right in front of you is an LXC container running on CentOS7. So after the intro, I'm actually going to go through the process of how you can get this set up on a fresh install of CentOS7. So I'll see you soon. Hi, welcome back. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually going to restore a CentOS7 VM which was freshly installed yesterday from a template. So I'll go ahead and find that template now, which is so the template that was created yesterday, I've given it 6 CPU cores and 6 gigabytes of RAM, and I'm actually going to choose the folder that I'm going to install this on. Is there, and I'm just going to say CentOS, let's call it CentOS Lab as follows, and start the import process. So while we're waiting for that to import, I'm just going to go to the page where I have the instructions on how to set this up. So I'll be following these instructions. What I have is I have another monitor set up which I will be using to refer to these instructions while I'm working on this monitor with VirtualBox running on it. The VM is now set up and installed, so I'm just going to start it. Then once it's started, I'm going to set up an SSH trust to it from my Windows VM and log into it via Sigwin. There we go. So first thing I need to do is log in. I've given it a dynamic IP, so I'm just going to find out which IP address has been allocated. So it's 188. I'll fire up Sigwin. Just change the host file. Go to the bottom and just put in 188 at the bottom. See if I can log into that. It will ask for a password, so I log in and test that works. Log out. I'm going to create a trust. Is that I just copy ID, SSH copy ID, so roots at CentOS7, put in the password. I can now log in without having to put in the password as follows. So if I was to type in LXC list is not found. So what I will do is I'm just going to follow the instruction in this crib sheet right away. As I've mentioned, I have this open on my second monitor, so I'm just going to basically cut and paste the commands from my second monitor to go through that. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we have an up-to-date, make sure everything's up to date. So I'm going to do yum update -y. That looks good, everything's up to date. Then we're going to need to install the EPL release repository, so I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Then we will do another yum update. After that, it's a reboot, so I'll just reboot the server. And we'll just wait for it to start up again. So it's started up again. I'm going to log back into it. The next thing we're going to do is install a plugin for Yum. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Then I will go ahead and enable that plugin as well. I'll try that again. Well, it's actually another repository that we're enabling. So once that repository has been enabled, we're now going to install the snapd. Next, we're going to enable snapd. So once snapd has been installed and configured, we can go ahead and use snapd to install LXD. So the next thing we're going to do is do a few bits of configuration. So I'll go and do that now. At this point, we reboot the server again. Now we can log back into the server. And now we're ready to finally install LXD. So the next command is snap search LXD, and we do have to run this command, otherwise the rest of the commands after this won't work. After we run that command, we do snap install LXD. This will take a couple of minutes to run. So LXD is now installed. Now we're just going to do a little bit of configuration. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Now we reboot again. So the server's back up and running. We're going to SSH back into it. I can now run LXC. So there's no containers at this point in time. And we actually do need to configure LXD. So I'm just going to run LXD init to do the configuration. For most of these questions, I'm actually going to select the default answer. So at this point, I'm going to select the storage backend. Now, BTRFS is the default on CentOS7 for this, but BTRFS is not available on later versions of Red Hat compatible OSs, including CentOS, Rocky, and Alma. So I'll be looking at and Red Hat itself. So I will be looking at that more in depth on Rocky 8 and maybe Red Hat 8 in a later video. So please watch this space. But for CentOS7, BTRFS is okay to choose. And for the rest of it, it's basically going to be default. Apart from when I come to IPv6, which I don't want to use. So here we go, IPv6, I want to set that to none, because I want to be using IPv4 addressing for this. And for the rest of it, just leave it as default. So LXD has now been configured. We're now ready to launch our first container template. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So it's going to download the template from the repository, then it'll cache it locally. So once we launch further templates or containers from this template in future, it will just launch it from the local cache. And if I do LXC list, you'll see the templates running, or the container templates running, and it's now been allocated an IP address. So that, so we're ready to basically use that. So basically that's the end of this video. We've covered how you can set up LXD LXC on CentOS7. Thank you very much for your time to get to the end of this video. Please click on like if you like this video. Also, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, and also click the notification bell should you wish to see further videos from myself in future. Thank you very much for your time, and I would like to thank the subscriber who made the recommendation for me to make this video. Thank you so much for your feedback. It really means a lot to me. Have a nice day.